Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the show for leaders who want real results, not more noise. Join Emanuel Rose as he helps business builders turn AI from a confusing add-on into a practical advantage with clearer messaging, stronger trust, and smarter systems. If you felt the shift happening in real time, you're not imagining it. In the agentic pivot, Emanuel calls it the move from experimenting with AI to building with it, so it supports your team, your brand, and your growth. Let's get into it.
This week, Google's Gemini app crossed 1 billion monthly users. That is the 14th Google product to hit a billion. It went from 950 million to over 1 billion in under a month. So now there are two AI apps with a billion plus users, ChatGPT and Gemini. Two front doors where people ask questions all day. And here's the part that should stop you and make you think. There are free audit tools available for GEO, and there was a new one this week that was released that checks 50 big name brands, and most of them barely showed up inside those answers at all. A billion people asking, and they cannot find you, right? We're going to talk about that. So I spent a lot of time with AI tools, and obviously I'm recommending that clients use them, and that we all take the time to generate content and work product through some of this new software that's being created in this agent world that exists. But as a professional marketer, there are still times in my work week where I am the human in the loop. And for instance, with Spec Kitty, developing a lot of new outreach, working to release a couple of products into the marketplace. And I still sit with a pen and a paper in my hand, thinking about the humans that I'm speaking to, and sketch out messaging on pen on paper, input it in the computer, and then when I get output, then I am sitting and reading it as imagining myself as that person. And that is still a necessary activity and cannot be overlooked. And I think it's important to remember that we as the humans are the creators, and the machines are doing our bidding. So that's how it goes for me. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI. I'm Emanuel Rose. Thanks for spending part of your day with me. I know your time is the one thing you cannot make more of, so I'll make it worth it. Here's where we're going today. The week in AI news and what got a billion Gemini users means for your brand. My hot take on the bubble everybody keeps arguing about. A couple new AI companies worth knowing and the money that moved this week. And a free tool that I want you to run on your own brand before you go to bed tonight. Let's get into it. Story number one, Gemini passed 1 billion users on August 11th. Google is calling it the fastest growing product in its history. And why do you care about that? Well, there's now 2 billion users on AI apps, and your customers are asking both of them who to buy from. Being on page one at Google is not the whole game anymore. Being named inside the answer is, and here's the shift in one line. Search sent people to your website. AI answers keep people inside the chat. So if the model does not know your brand, you never get the click. That is a real hole in the funnel, and most teams have not begun to plan for it, measure it, or educate themselves around it. Story two, Anthropic the company behind Claude reported its first operating profit, about $10.9 billion in revenues for the quarter, which is more than double the 4.8 the quarter before, and roughly 559 million in operating profit. Wow, that sure stings those of us who are maxing out our tokens, doesn't it? Now, some analysts say the profit leans on discounted compute costs, so take the victory lap with a grain of salt. But as we know, the demand is real, and demand is what you plan around, not the headlines. For you, it also means the company behind Claude is not going anywhere soon. Building your process on it is a safer bet than it was a year ago. Story number 3, Google shipped a new product called Gemini 3.7 Flash on August 13. It is built for coding and agent work, and here is the number that matters to you. It launched at half the price of the model before it, 75 cents per million words in, 3.75 per million out. That is the quiet trend under all the noise. The models keep releasing cheaper, so the automations you run on top of them cost less every single month. Well, you still got to get in there and make sure they're running it correctly and that you're getting good results. So don't rest on your laurels. Story number 4, Anthropic is also in talks to buy a startup called Descartes for about $6 billion. It would be their biggest deal yet. Descartes makes AI chips run more efficiently and does real-time video editing. For instance, think about what cheaper inference plus live video editing does to your content costs a year from now. The whole stack is bending towards cheaper and faster. That is good news for the small team. Here's my hot take of the week. The AI bubble debate is a spectator sport, and watching it is costing you money. A well-known strategist argued this week that it is not one giant bubble. It is a rolling sequence of small ones, popping and inflating, with the peak of AI spending likely late 2026 or early 27. Fine. Smart people can argue that on television, but you are not or should not be a spectator because you run a business or a business unit. And look at the actual jobs data. Companies have tied close to 90,000 job cuts to AI this year. Ooh, scary headline. But the same reporting found that the heaviest AI adopters grew their headcount by 10.2 and their entry-level roles by 12%. So listen to that again. AI is not thinning the teams that use it the most. It is thinning the ones that stall. So the bubble is the wrong thing to watch. The right question is simpler. Are you adopting or are you waiting? Because while everyone argues about whether it pops, the adopters are shipping, hiring, and pulling out in front. Do you see that? So do not budget around the bubble. Budget around your customer. Pick one workflow, put AI onto it this month, and measure the hours you get back. That is a decision you control. The forecast is not. New AI companies. 2 companies came across my desk this week. First, Lucrative AI. They launched out of stealth on August 11 with a $500,000 pre-seed. They're building what they call an MCP native revenue engine. In plainer English, it lets an AI agent act on your own customer data without a developer wiring it up first. The piece I like, it contacts an inbound lead within 60 seconds of a form fill. Speed to lead. That is the repetitive, time-consuming, manual follow-up that humans hate doing and are terrible at doing fast. And that to the agent, keep the human on the relationship. Second, UYNO. They raised $45 million this week. They call themselves an AI native operating system for payments, and they are pushing into what people are calling agentic commerce. Their customers include McDonald's, Rappi, and GoFundMe, and they are heading towards $100 billion in transaction volume. Here's why a payments company matters to a marketer. The checkout itself is about to get an AI layer. The buying moment, the part you have spent your whole career optimizing around, is going to have an agent standing in it. Start thinking now about what your brand says at that moment. Follow the money. The money kept moving this week. 4 rounds worth your attention. Lovable raised $400 million at a $13 billion valuation. They build working software from plain language prompts, and they are near a $600 million revenue rate. What that means for you: building an internal tool or landing page no longer needs a developer queue. For instance, that campaign microsite you shelved because engineering was booked for a quarter is now complete in an afternoon. Databricks raised $5 billion at a $190 billion valuation. That is up from $134 billion just 6 months ago. They build the plumbing for enterprise AI agents where your customer data lives, is getting funded frequently and with big dollars. Blacksmith, they raised $45 million, and they make a faster, cheaper way to check AI written code, and more than 6,000 companies already use it. I love this one for a reason. As AI writes more code, someone has to check that code. AI removes work and creates new work at the same time. Keep that in your head every time someone tells you jobs are going away. And Nero's technology raised $250 million at a 2.5 B valuation to build autonomous drones here in the US. I include it to make one point. AI money is flowing into hardware and defense, not just chatbots. The category is bigger than your marketing deck assumes, so widen your own scan. The next tool that changes your job may not call itself a marketing tool. New AI tools worth knowing. 3 tools shipped this week, the quick hits. 1, Google added AI features to ads and analytics on August 10. You can now build a visual report from plain text prompt, get a summary that explains the why behind the numbers, and benchmark against similar businesses. The reporting you used to build by hand is now a sentence you type, and that is really nice because the reporting is one of the time sucks. 2, 6 Cents launched an MCP server. It puts their buying signal data directly inside agents like Claude and ChatGPT. No custom setup. So instead of exporting a list into your agent, the fresh signal already lives where the agent works. If you run account-based marketing, that is the gap between last week's statistic list and today's live intent. And 3, and this is the one that I want you to act on, ModOp released a free AI search visibility audit at geo.modop.ai. Scores how your brand shows up across ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity in minutes. They also published something called the GEO 50, and it showed even big brands are barely present in AI answers. Free minutes, your brand. Go and run that. This week's question comes from Priya M on LinkedIn. She asked, Emanuel, everyone keeps telling me to worry about GEO and AI search. I run marketing for a small B2B firm with a tiny team. Where do I even start without blowing up my whole content plan? Well, it's a good question. And one of the places to start is with a looking at a review and finding out where you're sitting right now. And in addition to the one I was just talking about, you can go to strategicgeoreview.com, and that's the review that I built and use for my clients, and that will help to create some ideas of where you sit right now, and then it will develop for you some specific action to take immediately. The biggest thing is to look at GEO as an SEO layer on, and to think about building links across as wide of a surface as possible. Make sure you're bringing in press releases as well as content marketing and video, and then also do some research by asking LLMs, the questions that you think your customers or prospects would ask, and then build content around those answers. But it's a great question, Priya, and you are not behind. We're all working to stay up with this, so take a breath and just get started. Start with the free audit at Strategic GEO and run your own brand first. You need to know if Chat, GPT, and Claude mention you at all before you change anything. It takes a few minutes, and then you can build a plan. Adopt, adapt, and execute. That's what the secret is. Here is the one thing. Remember, Gemini alone just passed 1 billion users. You do not need to win every answer. You need to be findable in the answers about your category. It is a much smaller and much more human job and a little less stress. Point the tool at the question that actually matters to your buyer. That's the edge. Here's your save time playbook. Let's make this concrete before we go. A workflow you can run this week. The data is clear. 67% of marketing teams now save 10 or more hours a week with AI. A single blog post drops from around 8 hours to about 2.7 hours. Monthly social calendar drops from 20 hours to about 6. But here's the catch. The savings are uneven. Standardized formats save you 70 to 90%. Strategic thinking only saves you 30 to 40%. So split the work. Step 1, give AI the repetitive, time-consuming manual pieces, the captions, the product descriptions, the first draft, and that is the 70 to 90% win. Step 2, keep the human in the loop on the strategy, the angle, the claim, the point of view. That is your magic spark, and it is the part that AI cannot fake. Step 3, take the hours you're freed up and point them at GEO. Rewrite 1 page a week so it gets named in AI answers. You are augmenting your own week and not replacing your own judgment. Do the math on that. If your social calendar drops from 20 hours to 6, you just bank 14 hours a month. Spend 4 of them on GEO and keep the rest. That is how you turn a time savings into an edge instead of just a lighter day. That's the show. Here's your one job this week. Run the free audit on your own brand tonight and rewrite 1 page. That's it. If you want to go deeper, I wrote a book for exactly this moment. It's called Generative Engine Optimization, Beyond SEO in the Age of AI, part of my marketing books collection. It is for marketers and agency owners who want to understand and implement the fundamentals of GEO. You can find it at Emanuelrose.com or on Amazon. And I want to take your questions. Find me on LinkedIn. Send me what you're stuck on, and I'll answer the best questions right here on a show. Thanks for spending time with me today. Go do something with AI and get some time back in your work week. Be well.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or Emanuelrose.com. You can also connect with Emanuel on